Today we're going to be reading chapter 8. So where we last left Robin in chapter 7, he had just made a friend, Death, which is his dog. And in chapter 8, things are going to get very interesting. So we learned in chapter 7 that Robin is now at Lindsay, and he is sort of getting acquainted. He has his duties to do, responsibilities. The friar has laid out a whole schedule for him to do. And now we're going into more of the everyday life. And things are about to get very interesting in Lindsay. So make sure you follow along, and it's going to get very, very exciting. So chapter 8. One day late in October, as the friar walked with Robin along the side of the hill leading down to the river, Death following, Robin stopped in the path. "Think you it is really helping my legs to swim?" he asked anxiously. "I cannot straighten my back and can walk only as before, halfway bent over. What think you, Brother Luke? Shall I ever straighten?" "I know not what to think about that," Brother Luke sighed. Then he lifted his head and said firmly, "God alone knows whether thou'lt straighten or not. I know not. But this I tell thee, a fine and beautiful life lies before thee, because thou hast a lively mind and a good wit. Thine arms are very strong and sturdy. Swimming hath helped to make them so, but only because thou hast had the will to do it. Fret not, my son, none of us is perfect. It is better to have crooked legs than a crooked spirit. We can only do the best we can with what we have. That, after all, is the measure of success. What we do with what we have." And so this is still alluding to the title, The Door in the Wall. And so Robin is afraid that when they say that, will he ever straighten, meaning will he ever be able to walk again without his crutches, walk normally? And Brother Luke seems to be a little bit discouraged, but then he kind of gets some joy back and tells Robin and encourages him, God only knows if this will happen or not, but no matter what, God has a purpose through this, and that his arms are getting stronger from the swimming, and that the measure of success is what we do with what we have. So it's not a matter of what we don't have, it's what we have and what do we do with it. "Come, let us go on." Robin nodded slowly, then said hopefully, "Peter the bowman says I have a good arm for the bow and a keen eye for the mark. I can put an arrow up quite well for a beginner, he says." "How goeth the woodworking?" asked the friar. "John Gowan the Wind is helping me to shape the base of the little Saxon harp." So remember, he's making a harp. "It is to be almost like this, but is to have my own mark." So he's going to put his own little creative twist on it. "Whether the front block holds the thin maple in a curve, his is plain. Mine shall have tracery. He bent the maple around an oval-shaped form whilst it was green, and meantime John is showing me how to shape and smooth the post which is the upright. It too is of maple, but it is well seasoned and beautifully marked. From a deer that Adam the bowman killed, we are drawing gut for the strings." "Thou'rt becoming a true craftsman," said the friar, "and wilt be able to play the harp when 'tis done?" "Already I can pick out a tune of Caw the Yaws, and can sing it well. It is sad but pleasant to hear. When I learn it all, I shall sing it for my Lady Constance, and when I see my mother again, I shall sing it for her." Robin stopped for a moment, then went on thoughtfully. "Think you my mother will know me when she sees me thus?" Thy mother will know and love thee always, my son," the friar assured him, "whether thou'lt bend or straight, well or ill, knight or clerk, lord or minstrel." So he's saying your mom will love you no matter what. She will recognize you no matter what. When would he see his mother? Where was she now? October had passed in lingering summer warmth, but with the coming of November there was fog and rain. When it cleared, raw winds swept down from the north, whistling through corridors and halls, sending up whirls of dust in the courtyard, billowing the tapestries that hung on the wall. Brother Luke took Robin each day as before to swim. They followed the path to a place near Leatham Bridge. "It will be good for thee, even in the chilly autumn weather," he comforted, when Robin shivered at the thought of the icy water. "It sends the blood flying through thy veins to warm thee. Besides, it strengthens thy body, and best of all, it strengthens thy spirit to do a hard thing." Robin was now quite strong, although he could not straighten. He was able to go about easily from keep to tower, from hall to chapel, from turret to dungeon. Even the twisting stairs held no terror for him, because he had learned to place the crutches carefully and swiftly where they would hold and balance him. He could play games with the boys in the courtyard, shooting at a mark, hide-and-go-seek, and duck on a rock. So we're going to pause here, because duck on the rock has been mentioned many times. So this is not what they're talking about, but I thought you might enjoy to see this. It made me laugh, so I hope it makes you laugh too. Literally, we have duck on a rock. But instead, this is not what they're talking about. They're talking about a game. So, of course, back then, these are all plastic. They didn't have plastic back in medieval times. But duck on a rock was just a game that they played. And I do believe that they would try to throw it and knock him off. So this is the game that they're referring to. But we'll leave it here just for laugh's sake. Robin's keen eye and strong arms helped him to send the duck, a small pointed stone, so far he could easily get the goal and back before the other boys could retrieve the duck. "Oh, no fair!" cried Dennis one day. "You can go twice as fast as we can on those 7-legged boots of yours." Robin only laughed and played harder. So Dennis is crying foul. He's saying, "That's not fair!" Kind of jokingly, though, because Robin's on crutches, and crutches are much longer, so Robin can get from one place to another faster now that he has almost perfected the art of crutches, and Robin is quite competitive. Many times a day he went in and out the castle gate, and he had already made friends with Alan at Gate. Don't you love the names? Alan at Gate. Maybe I should be Mrs. Garcia, teacher. I don't know. Just kidding. Alan was a gruff old fellow, for he was long hours in attendance on duty, and was responsible for the safety of all within the castle. He challenged everyone who passed, whether going in or coming out, demanding to know his business. Robin soon learned that Alan at Gate had a soft side as well as a rough one. Once, when he had come on Alan unawares, he heard him playing the flageolet. And so this is a type of kind of flute. So it's similar to a recorder, if you've ever seen those or heard one being played. Robin told him about the Saxon hop he was making. Robin discovered too that Alan liked sweets, so he kept a good supply of honey cakes in his pocket for the largesse. He was allowed to come and go through the gate whenever he liked, with death at his heels. "Now that the castle is well known to thee, and thou'rt well starting on making a hop, it is time for me to visit my old mother," said John Go-in-the-Wind to Robin. Dost know how to go on with the harp?" So he's asking, do you know how to keep learning and playing the harp? "Yes, I am sure I do," Robin answered. "It is a secret I wish to keep, and if I need help, Brother Luke can give it to me. William Wise the farrier is making the tool of hardened iron, as you asked him to do. I shall be careful to make the holes in the pegs for the strings to fit. Let me see once more how they go, and how many there are." John showed Robin the graceful instrument, and how the 7 strings were fastened with tiny pegs in the maple sounding board, which covered the hollow oval base. He showed him how they were drawn tightly to the upper arm of the harp by wooden keys which just fitted the tapered holes tightly enough so they stayed whichever way they turned. "'Twill not be easy to get the keys exactly like the holes," he cautioned. "No," said Robin, "but I can do it. I know I can." "Thou canst but try," said John. Anyone cannot do it." Robin went with John down the courtyard to the outer gate. "Dost know where to find me in case of need?" asked John. So John's asking, "Do you know where to find me in case you need me?" "Yes," said Robin, making fun, mimicking the way John had told it to him. "'Tis over the path, beyond the river, across yon fields, and through the forest, then fording the stream, and up another field, and through another wood, and 'tis just there, this side of the church, in the village of Trupeth. A tiny bit of a house on the heath, where she lives with her cat. If thou'rt there, she'd bake thee a bannock." John laughed. "That's the right of it," he agreed. "And now farewell, young master." John slung his pack and the harp across his back and was gone. Early that same day, mists began to rise, which later became a thick fog. Little could be seen from watchtower or wall, but a blank whiteness covering everything. Even the outer walls of the castle were hidden from the watchmen at the top of the keep. When Robin crossed the outer bailey, going from the workshop along the wall to the inner castle gate, he could see only a few steps ahead. Sometimes he could scarcely see Death, who was close at his heels. Sometimes heads appeared out of nowhere, or legs walked along as if they were unattached. So while this sounds like a scary movie is about to happen, with heads appearing out of nowhere, legs unattached. So once again, it's figuratively, not literally. So figuratively, the fog is so thick that it seems like heads are appearing out of nowhere because you can't see their bodies, or legs are appearing out of nowhere because the fog covers up the rest of their body. When Robin reached the drawbridge and started to cross, Alan Atgate's voice shouted the challenge. Even though the voice was familiar, it sounded ghost-like and strange to Robin as it came out of the fog. "Who goes there?" said the voice. "'Tis I, Robin," came the answer as Robin crossed the moat and passed under the portcullis. It's hard to say in an accent. "This be a treacherous cloud of mist," said Alan Atgate as Robin entered. So here is the castle. And I did want to point out a diagram of a medieval castle. So it mentions the portcullis, which, like I said, is very hard to say with an accent. And this is kind of like the so we have the drawbridge, and the portcullis is the gate that comes down. So if you've ever seen a medieval movie, this is like that iron gate that they like, lower the gate, and they start like cranking in and it starts going down, right? And it's usually spiky at the end. So this is where Alan Atgate is. Okay, and then here we have the outer wall, and this is the Great Hall. Most likely, this is usually how medieval castles were built. And it's strange that they were all built very similarly. You think that they would make it different, but so we'll leave it here. "Will there be danger in it, think you?" asked Robin. "Aye, danger enough," said Alan gravely. "The Welsh yonder long have wanted this castle for it be strong. Now with the fog to help, and so few to guard the walls, there is a chance they might get it. God forbid. Some bad news." "If my father would only come with his men, it would be safe," declared Robin. "He is the strongest knight in the king's bodyguard, and Alfred the Dane is his finest bowman. Alfred can shoot out the eyes of an owl at 200 paces." While he boasted, Robin's eyes shone. "But," he ended sadly, "neither Alfred nor my father is here." Oh. When supper was served in the great hall that evening, there were a few gathered to eat because every man was on guard, and only the womenfolk and the children kept Sir Peter company. The 2 pages, Dennis and Lionel, attended them, and Robin, as usual, sat between Lady Constance and the 2 little boys. So they're having dinner in the great hall, but it's somewhat empty because of the fog. A lot of men are going to keep watch in case the Welsh should try to attack. Death, on the other hand, seemed ill at ease. They pace up and down the hall, settle themselves in the rushes on the floor, only to rise and begin walking about again. "Down, Daff!" commanded Robin. "Quiet, Roy. Be still, Nance," Dennis ordered. They dropped to the floor for a moment, but were soon moving about again. Not even the bones kept them quiet for more than a short time. Little boys, they don't stay quiet. Lady Constance talked pleasantly with her ladies, but Sir Peter seemed to always be listening. While they were still at table, there was a sudden commotion. Uh-oh. Shouts and cries from the inner ward came up through the windows, and a sound of running feet pounding along the passage. Sir Peter started from his chair. Sir Peter starting to stand up like, what's happening? Adam the Yeoman came, bursting into the hall, so hurried with ill news that he scarcely stopped to bob his head before speaking, meaning he almost forgot to bow. He is just panicking. "Your lordship," he began, out of breath, "we are attacked. The Welsh are hammering at the town gate. They have slain the watch by creeping close to the wall in the fog. They waited for him to turn, then put an arrow in his back." Uh-oh. Now, it is not as dramatic as this, but it's just to give you a visual. This is very dramatic. "'Tis come then," said Sir Peter, reaching for the great sword which hung on the wall. "What strength are they? Is it known?" "It is hard to say," said Adam. "They make a great noise about the walls, but naught can be seen for the fog." So naught means like nothing. So nothing can be seen through the fog. "They have built fires under the south gate, and flambeaux glow on all sides. So I fear we are surrounded. Gather every man not armed into the inner bailey, where they will be provided with long bows and arrows," directed Sir Peter. "To Lady Constance," he said, "you, my dear wife, gather all the women and children into the keep. Have them bring clothing and pallets. There at least we have water in the well, and 'tis a strong fortress." "Yes, my husband," Lady Constance said obediently, rising and gathering the children to her, while her ladies hastily collected embroidery frames, cloaks, and fripperies. The two pages, Dennis and Lionel, carried the food from the table, then took the table boards from the trestles and transferred everything to the hall of the keep. The keep was close to the gatehouse between the inner and outer ward, so there was great excitement in the courtyard. "What can I do?" asked Robin. "Will you care for the little boys?" asked Lady Constance. "Little Allison shall come with us." "Yes," promised Robin. "Each can hold to my jerkin, so we shall keep together among the yeomen." So they're going to go find their safe place, but Robin is put in charge of the boys and says the boys can hold on to my coat because people are panicking and rushing, so the children won't get lost. When the boys had been safely delivered to the keep, Robin remembered the little harp which lay unfinished in the workshop under the south hall. He must get it and keep safe too. So Robin rushes to go get it. There's another dramatic example. Before morning, the walls of the town had been breached, and before the day was out, the town was taken. When the portcullis, remember this gate, of the outer bailey of the castle was raised to admit the yeomen, the townspeople swarmed in. So they're raising it to let in the yeomen, but other people are trying to rush in. Alan Atgate directed the dropping of the heavy iron gate, and it came down so quickly that the last man to enter narrowly missed having his head chopped off. Told you it gets good. All right, so that is the end of chapter 8. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for my accent starting to fade away and kind of come back. I hope you enjoyed it. This was a crazy, fun chapter, and it only gets better. I'll see you guys next time.